This is the Mathematics Summer 2019 paper, and we are looking at the crossover between foundation and intermediate. In this paper, you'll see that there's 13 marks for foundation and there's 16 marks for intermediate, and they crossed over, so they were on both papers. The other thing I've added here is that you can see the grade boundaries for that foundation paper and for the intermediate paper. So what that means is that to get the foundation paper, we should be, if you've done the other videos, aiming towards our E grade at this point. If you're on the intermediate paper, we're on the first 16 marks to get us an E. First question you've got involves loads of different facts, and we have to say if it's true or false. You need to circle the correct answer. Have a go at it, pause the screen if you want to, and then unpause when you're ready to check what I'm going through. So the first question we've got, we need to look at BODMAS, okay? Or BODMAS or BIDMAS, depending on what you've been taught through school. And the first thing on there is B, which is brackets. So we're going to work out the inside of the brackets first. So 4 plus 2 gives us 6. So I'm just going to write a little note to say 6 there. Now BODMAS is brackets, and then you've got your order, and then it's division, multiplication. So next thing we're going to do is multiply. So the 6 and a 3 are next together, so we're going to do 6 times 3, which gives us 18. So now we're saying it's 23 take away 18. Well, 23 take away 18 does in fact give me 5, so I can say this is true. The second question here, you can see where they've gone wrong because they've added the denominators and they've added the numerators, which in fact that's incorrect. They have to have the same denominator to be able to add them. We can keep it over 10, and both of them would have been over 10, but our answer also would have been a 10. So that's a quick way of checking how they're not correct. To finish this off, if you've put the denominator over 10 for the second fraction, the top fraction also needs to be multiplied by that same number. So we times the bottom by 2, so we're timesing the numerator, so the top number by 2. 7 plus 4 gives us 11, so in fact our fraction should have been 11 over 10, which you can say that's false. Third one, the word of means to times. So 1 times 1 is 1, correct? 2 times 8 is not 4. 2 times 8 should have been 16. So our answer should have been 1 over 16. So we can say that one is false. Now, if you've watched the foundation videos, I talked about the fact that quarter is the same as 25% when we looked at the pie chart question. It's the same factor here. So 25% is a quarter. And if we know it's a quarter, that means we know we're halving it and halving again. So if we halve 0.4, it goes to 0.2. If we halve it again, it goes to 0.1. So in this fact, it is true. And BODMAS is back. So remember, the multiplication came first because there's no brackets this time. So 3 times 2 is 6. So 28, take away 6, that gives us 22. 22 plus 5 gives us 27. So it's not 55, so we can say it's false. Let's check the mark scheme. So you got true, false, false, true, and false. So if you got all 5 of those correct, you did actually gain all 3 marks. 4 correct means you gained 2 marks, and if you had 3 of them correct, you do still gain a mark. So it is, even if it's like completely out of your mindset and you're really not sure and it's towards the end of your paper, please still circle something because you're likely to pick up something. Right, the next question. Have a read, pause the screen if you need to, and we're going to crack on straight away. So the first thing is it gives us a table. And it says complete the frequency table. So that means that if they're yellow, they're in this section, the first section, and if they're blue, they're in the second section. Numbers below 100 have already been done. We need to find the numbers above 100. So you might see that they say Y76. That means it's yellow and it's below 76. So I'm just going to count the ones that are above it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I've got 7 there. Now, the next thing I need to do is look at blues. I'm going to change my colour just so I can tell the difference. So blues under 100. So my first blue is there. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Can't see any more. I'll write 4 there. And then my last one, I'm looking for blues that are over 100. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that should be that. And you would see I've also done 100 because see that line by here, that means equal to. So as there was an equal to, I can still continue that into that part. Now I have got 25 numbers, and if I add up all these, there is also 25. So that is how I can check. So count how many options and compare to the total frequency. And there we go. That one's done. So 25 balls placed in a box. One of them balls is chosen at random. What's the probability that it's a yellow ball less than 100? Well, it's told us it's 25, and we already know the 25 because we've added them up. So out of those 25 balls, we're looking at how many are yellow and less than 100. So our yellow would just be the 8 and the 7, but because we're looking at less than 100, we're just looking at the 8. To be 8 over 25. And that's that question completed. Let's have a look at the mark scheme. So the first thing that we did is make sure we had 7, 4, and 6. That gave us 2 marks. If we only had one of them, if we had 2 of them, we'd have got 1 mark. But if we had only got 1 right, we wouldn't have got anything. So they just then said any valid statements that undertakes the numbers in a table are added to make 25 or added the frequency. Okay, so maybe I might need to say add to make the total frequency. But I should have covered it. 8 over 25 would be that final mark. There we go. So the next question we got here, I've put the blue boxes on top. If you did the paper, you would see that it's just a grey box, just so I could move the shapes. So it said shade 1 square that has an order rotational symmetry of 2. So if it rotates, it's going to be flipped upside down. So as you can see for the first one, I've rotated it round so it's completely opposite. And that means that if I turn the shape round, it will exactly look the same twice before I've done 360 degrees. And the same with this one, I've turned them round, so I've gone that way. And then if I turn the shape round, each individual bit, all the shapes would show. Now this question is only on intermediate. So these are the 3 marks that are the difference between the foundation paper and the intermediate. So if you are sitting foundation, you do not need to know these, but it's still useful. Shade the 2 squares that have an order of rotation of 3. So at this point, you need to do every other. So it should make a slight pattern. And that way, if I turn it every other one, it will rotate. So there's 3 marks here, and it's just for the pattern. There was no other option, so you had to shade those in. Now we're on to the last question. So back again is on foundation, it's also on intermediate. It says write down the following number of sequences. So work out what's happening each time. So from 19 to 15, I'm adding 2. Oh, adding 4, mind my maths. Let's just change that up a bit. There we go. It's been a long day. Adding 4. 15 to 11, we're adding 4. So we can see that there's a common pattern here. Again, adding 4. Add 4 again, that gives me -3. Add 4 again. Remember, if you watch the foundation videos already, if you're at -3, add 4 to it. So -2, -1, 0, 1. Okay, so that's another method you can do. So that's that question covered. Part B now, you've got a pattern that's showing. So the sticks are the lines. That's what it means by the sticks. So each time something's happening to the pattern, we need to work out what is happening. So first thing I do in these cases is just count my sticks. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Second pattern, I've got my original 6, and I've got an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 11. And you'll see here again, now I've got my 11 that I've already counted, and I'm adding an extra 5. So that's going to give me 16. So if I added 5 here, and I added another 5 here, if I wanted pattern 4, I'm going to again have to add 5. So that question, I should have had 21. Then says pattern 37 requires 186 rods. How many rods required to draw pattern 38? Well, we know that's the next pattern. And the rule that we've been writing down is each time we add 5. So if we've got 186, we're again going to add 5 rods, and that's going to give us our answer. So 191. The last one, it says, describe the rule used in the following sequence. So 283 to 81 to 27 to 9. Now, straight away, you should have realized that the pattern is not going to be the same, because from 27 to 9 is not taking 100 odd like it was on the first part. So it's not taken away, it's not adding on, it's not timesing because it's getting smaller. Well, it technically could be timesing, but we won't go into that part of it. It's actually dividing each time, isn't it? So dividing, and how many times bigger do you reckon? Well, if we look at the nicer version, the 27 and 9, we know 9 goes into 27 3 times. And if I did 3 lots of 27, you'd have noticed that gave me 81. So I can say it's divide by 3 is the rule. However, because when you're dividing by 3, you could also have said times by a third. Either one of those should have been accepted because it's the same thing. And here are the answers that go with that. Sorry for the school bell. So the first one you got is -3, and then you got the second mark for 1. The second mark you got for 21. Your third mark was for your 191, and the last one was dividing the number by 3. Well, they didn't even show the times by a third, but it would have been the same type of skill. And there we go.